Okay, here we are with Simón, the Mayors Networks Coordinator for Bikes, and Jelle, the Bicycle Mayor of Utrecht. And we're here today to do a city walkability scoring for Utrecht. But first, I think it'd be really interesting to hear a little bit about this dynamic network of bicycle mayors. So Simón, if you could share a little bit about what you do and what the network is.
Yeah, sure. Hi, Annika. Thanks for having us. So the Bicycle Mayor Network is a program within Bikes. Just to introduce the organization first, it's a small NGO that's Amsterdam-based, but we have programs worldwide, and we work to promote cycling cultures in different cities in order to increase the amount of people riding bikes, but also the diversity of people riding bikes. And so the Bicycle Mayor Network is one of those programs. And it's a network of now 132 cities and growing. And so bicycle mayors like Jelle, for example, are cycling advocates who become the kind of face and voice of cycling in their city. And really, I think they're great connectors. So they connect different cycling groups, different cycling organizations, also with urban planning. So they really create important conversations that are otherwise left out between urban planners and people working at the municipality with local advocacy, local initiatives. And they do a wide variety of projects, of awareness campaigns, of a ton of things that Jelle will probably be able to tell you about better. And then within the network from Bike, so we provide some resources from them in terms of, we have a resource hub. We do kind of some workshops and training. And then also we just help connect them amongst each other, but also with other partners and other organizations.
Awesome. I like that a lot. Yeah. So Jelle, maybe you could share a little bit about when you became a bicycle mayor and what you do.
Yeah, sure. So it was last June that I was elected or selected, because I handed in a work plan about my plans for the city. And well, you city, like a lot of people are cycling, and most of the people have 2 or 3 bicycles in their shed. Just some of them don't use 2 of them, have 2 extra bikes. But there's also a lot of people that, because of the crowded bicycle paths, feel like thresholds to get on a bicycle. And for those people, I wanted to put in the extra work in the 2 times that I'm the bicycle mayor. So I really want to advocate for them at the municipality, and to have projects to help them with lowering those thresholds to get on a bicycle. So that's what I do. I try to stimulate cycling under vulnerable groups. So for example, disabled people, they have to have an adjusted bike, and I want them to give access to those bikes or help them pick out a bike that suits them.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So also this is a volunteer role. So
yeah.
You were obviously a passionate cyclist, as many people are in your area before this, but does this role intersect with your daily work too?
Yeah. So I work at the Sport Utrecht, and it's a really broad sports organization. So it's a semi-governmental organization. And what they do is from very daily sports activities, but just daily moving and stuff, and cycling, walking, up until top sports and athletic programs. And I am working in the bicycle team over there. So I was already working with vulnerable groups. And then this chance came along, and I thought, well, if I'm the bicycle mayor, I could really reach out to a larger audience and really put in more effort even for the vulnerable groups. Yeah.
That's really exciting to hear about. And also what I love about your network, because I'm developing a walkability network, is that you guys are global. So what's it like to communicate with you have mayors all over the planet. So what's it like to communicate with all the different mayors in the different regions?
Is that for the question for me?
Yeah, both of you. Yeah, for both of you. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I really like it. Like it's so special to communicate with all those people, because in every city, the bicycle mayor, like every city that has a bicycle mayor, the projects are completely different and the goals are completely different. Because you can imagine that in a city as Utrecht, which is #1 bicycle city according to some of the forums, there's a very different focus. I'm actually privileged that I can focus on vulnerable groups, the groups that aren't that often, because there's also bicycle mayors that really have to start on the beginning on the bicycle infrastructure and really have to build up from there. And it's really great to be in a network and to learn from each other and to see the challenges that other people have and how you can help. It's great.
Yeah, just to go off of that, I think that was really why the bikes created the network, because on the one hand, it's important to kind of listen to local knowledge, because really the best site as to what their city needs, but at the same time, across the board, there are common challenges in the regions, different groups, different cycling maturities. So that's why we organize regional calls and network-wide calls. The other day, for example, I was on a call with the bicycle mayors of North America, and it was amazing to see how between the United States and Canada, there were a lot of really common challenges, and a lot of the work that they were doing was really focused on equity. And it was just beautiful to see kind of the solidarity between all the different bicycle mayors, and how, just being in that group, being in that community, energized everyone, including myself. I feel really lucky to do what I do. So.
Yeah, I like that word, energize. It feels like a very energetic network and very energizing for the face of bicycling planet-wide. All right, so let's get into the city scoring. The recording's been a bit bumpy, so if I might ask you to repeat if I feel like it's cutting out. So just for people listening too. So let's get into the walkability scoring. So we're gonna do walkability, cycling, and public transit. Maybe we'll start with Jelle. You pick which one you want to start with. And we do it on a score of 1 to 10. 1 is the lowest, 10 is the highest.
Well, let's start at let's finish with cycling.
Hold on, you cut out for a second. You cut out for a second. What are you going to start with?
With the walkability, is that
okay? Okay, yeah.
So I think for walkability, I'll go for like 7.5.
7.5. Okay.
Can we go for the half points as well?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. And would you like me to give all the scores?
For walkability, let's wait a second. And what would you need to see changed for it to come up?
Okay, so in Utrecht, I think there's also a lot of walking paths, and there's a lot of nature and parks and stuff. So people, if you want to walk, you have enough space to walk. But what I hear a lot of people complaining about is that there are some shared spaces. So there's some streets, for example, where you can walk and cycle as well. And when you can walk and cycle as well, then people on foot may feel endangered by the people on the cycle, because the cyclists are so used to cycle fast, and well, they're very they're very dynamic, and they're steering through all the crowd. So yeah, people are complaining about that. And also when you have like the sidewalk, there's also a lot of bicycles on the sidewalk when there's not enough space to store the bikes. So I think those are points that could be like could be better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Simón, why don't we go to Simón then and do you do your scoring for walkability?
Yeah, I was actually glad you said 7.5, because I was trying to figure out if I was gonna give it a 7 or an 8. I think I'll go with an 8, because I do think you can walk everywhere in Utrecht and really quite comfortably. Also, if you do have some kind of disability or walking impairment, it's quite accessible. Obviously, I don't experience it in my day-to-day, but looking at it from an urbanist side, I do think it's quite accommodating to that. But again, there are some sidewalks that could be slightly wider and some space that could be taken from cars, because some lanes could be, thinner if it was just for bicycles and not for a 2-lane car street. But yeah, I won't go on about what can be improved because I think Jelle touched on it.
Okay. All right. Why don't we stick with Simón and you choose the next one?
We'll do public transport.
Okay.
This is such a tricky one, I think. I think I'm going to give it, I'm going to give it an 8 as well. I think, Utrecht has really great public transport in terms of how often it comes by and how efficient it is. They also recently built a new tram line that goes to the university area, which is amazing. I think it's one of the, if not the most expensive tram project in the world because of all the security sensors it has for bicycles. And it works really well. The only thing I think, also, I guess it's important to understand that Utrecht in terms of area is not that big. So the connections within the city aren't that great, or at least if I'm trying to go from one edge of the city to the other, still kind of in the center, without counting the metropolitan area, it'll almost always be way faster to bike and sometimes even to walk. Just because a lot of the buses connect areas in the metropolitan region to the central station and to different mobility hubs, but connections between the city aren't that great just because it's so well built for cycling or for walking.
Okay.
That's true.
Interesting. All right. So Jelle, what would you say for public transit?
Yeah, I really agree with Simón on the points that he touched. Also, because the station is in the center, and it's discouraged for cars to be in the center. So it takes a lot more time to get to your destination. So it's way easier to go by bike. So that's also why it's a bit more difficult to rate the public transit, because, well, I'm always on the bike, and I think Simón is the same. But I would also say like 8 or 8.5. Maybe I'll go for the 8.5 to stick with the half point scoring.
I'm sort of guessing it has universal access to, correct?
You have like trains you can take. You can take the bus. You have the tram. You have there's so many different options to go by. So I think if you want to use public transport, it's easy to get everywhere. Yeah,
it's just within the city. Biking is faster.
It's faster,
but mine's an 8 for public transport within Utrecht, but in terms of the region, I'll give it a 9.5, almost a 10.
All right, now let's round off on cycling.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, well, that's a tough point for me, because if I'm scoring low, that means I'm doing my job poorly, right? No, just kidding. I would say cycling a 9, probably. Maybe even higher, but I'll stick to the 9 because I want to keep my job. No, it's just, cycling for your day-to-day cycling, it's amazing, it's great, and there's always like intersection that could be safer, or like bicycle lanes that could be broader or something like that. But in general, I think like the bicycle infrastructure is great, and like there are so many foreign delegations coming to the city to see all the infrastructure and the bridges that we made for cycling and all those things. And so I think that also says something about the infrastructure. But what I would say, like, there's always room for improvement, and where I see most room for improvement is because the bicycle lanes are so busy. There's huge thresholds for people who are not so used to a bike, or for whom the bike is not that like natural. So I think we should also keep in mind that not everyone is born on a bicycle. And well, just keep an eye on those who tend to get behind. And that's what I'm trying to do as a bicycle mayor. Simón.
Yeah, also 9.5. It's a cycling paradise for most. I mean, biggest cycling parking in the world, which is such a work of art. I think every time I I commute using the central station every day, and it's always wonderful to see that. And yeah, I think also in the last 2 years, the city has been making a strong effort at widening lanes, which has been really positive. And I won't take too much time, but I think it's a really interesting and beautiful story as well, how the city is now streets that used to be for cars or almost entirely for cars and had a small bike lane are now being transformed. Then, the city started implementing wider bike lanes and wider bike lanes. And now they've gone kind of back to the old format where it's just one lane shared by cars and bicycles. But because the culture has changed so much in the city, they're actually really safe for cyclists and pedestrians and people on any kind of vehicle on that road, because the mobility hierarchy has switched and bikes are at top, and people just know that. So I think that speaks a lot to the importance of mindset shift and culture shift.
Yeah, there's a lot of bicycle priority paths. So bicycles really have priority, and cars just should stay behind them. And about, you said like the bicycle shed is a work of art. I just shared this on my Instagram page. Look, this is the this is the bicycle shed.
Yeah, it's
Look at that.
Oh wow. Well, I'll pull it up. Yeah,
sure.
The bicycle shed at the central station in Utrecht.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Amazing. And I'm glad you referenced that the mobility hierarchy has shifted and there's been a culture shift, because we talk about that a lot at Pedestrian Space. You could do all the infrastructural changes that you want, but if the culture and local mindsets doesn't shift. So this is really exciting to hear about the cultural shift, and that you guys have it there. And
yeah, that's also a lot of the work that Jelle is doing. I mean, interestingly, our lives intersect in 2 ways. So he's the bicycle mayor at Bikes, and I coordinate the network there. But the activities that he coordinates within Sport Utrecht, I'm a volunteer there. Before he became bicycle mayor, so we're connected in 2 ways. And at Bikes, we really focus on human infrastructure, which are kind of interventions that don't focus on physical infrastructure, but changing the culture to facilitate cycling. And I really think that the work that Jelle and Sport Utrecht are doing are so important to make cycling more accessible to everyone, by teaching them lessons, by showing them that they too, belong on the bike lane. So I think it's really cool.
Yeah. Also building confidence, because you can put the best infrastructure there is an entire world in the city, but if the people don't feel confident using it, that's it's not going to work. So
well, I'm really excited. This was a pleasure to talk to you guys, because Utrecht holds this position globally as this bicycling paradise. I hope to visit someday and ride a bike there with you guys. So thank you so much. And if people want to check out Bikes, it's
bikes.org. Yeah, bikes.org.
BYCS.org.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And you can also follow Bicycle Mayor Utrecht on Instagram.
Okay, I'll put that. I'll link to that when we post. Thanks so much, guys.
Thanks so much, Annika.